Thank you. I would, but someone else pipped me to it.
Growing up as a kid in Oklahoma, where I'm from, the Chili Bowl is the biggest race that we have. The Chili Bowl has kind of been my favorite race of the year. Growing up a dirt racer in Oklahoma, that's kind of the holy grail.
Thank you. From Lanier Speedway in beautiful Brazelton, Georgia, it's round 4 of the CSI Shocks Series Championship. Now, the opening round featured midgets, then it was the wing sprint cars for round 2 and 3, and now it's time for some unlimited modifieds. The cars are different, but the names are familiar, and you can see all the short track, dirt track racing right here, live as it happens on the Global Sim Racing channel. A big Pete State hello and welcome to another GSRC broadcast. Bill Soup's on, up in the press box along with Joe Peak to bring you our Words Eye View. Sean Crackers Ambrose has director duties, armed with cameras locked and loaded by Dougie Beard. Okay, Joe, a lot of people are familiar with this, especially if you're an iRacer. Lanier is one of the first tracks you may have raced on, but dirt is rather new to Lanier. Tell us a little bit of what's going on here.
Well, it's new to Lanier, at least here in the virtual world. Now, it originally was a dirt track, and then obviously they paved over it. But you can see this half-mile circuit, which is just about 0.8 kilometers if you're watching from across the pond, has about 5 to 11 degrees of banking. But the big thing that most drivers, at least on the roadside, probably know this one for, is because it's literally across the street from Road Atlanta. So racing obviously very big in that area, no matter where you head and no matter what type of racing you're into. But this is a very wide circuit and it's a lot of turn. You're pretty much going to be spending much of this lap just going in a circle. It's going to be a lot like Oxford here today, where the drivers don't get much time to just point the car forward and relax for a second. All in all, I think that this is going to put on some fascinating racing, and it's going to be a little bit of a new experience for some of these drivers, especially with these modifieds, Bill, but I'm looking forward to it.
It is indeed. Let's talk about the point standings. We talked about this being round number 4, so there's 3 in the book, so let's bring those up to you right now. Hayden Perdue continues to be the points leader from the, round 2 on. Sits up there with 305 points. Chad Wheeler right behind him as he gains a spot as Chance Crum drops down into 3rd. Now, the big mover from last round was Preston Perlmutter. Perlmutter really had a great performance last time out, picks up 4 spots, and cracks into the top 5 overlay, pushing Corey Day down into 5th. There's one other overlay we'd like to look at, and that is the hard charger. We'll bring that up for you right now, and this is for the amount of cars drivers pass throughout the entire season. You see the Corey Day, who sits 5th in the point standings, sits 1st here in the hard chargers. A lot of familiar names as Chad Wheeler, who sits 2nd in the point standings, up here 2nd in the hard chargers. Well, Corey Sidham, always a fun driver to watch. Bryce Lucius and Andrew Evans round out the graphic. Joe, why don't we take a quick look at the details for today?
Absolutely. As you mentioned, we are in round 4. Now, you can see the UMP modified is tonight. This is going to be completely different from what we had in the first 3 rounds. Those were all sprint type cars between the midget and 2, sprint cars. This is a tin top, if you will. They do still have a fixed setup, though, that iRacing provides for each specific course. And they have 5 heats that they will use to try and set up the finale and the semifinals. The 3 semifinals will then decide who manages to finally get into that A main at the last chance, and then the A main decides, of course, who takes home all the money. The cash and prizes are up to $2,000 for this season. There is a lot on the line for these drivers out there, and that's why we see such fierce competition in these races.
A perfect points day for these drivers is 115, as you get 100 for winning the feature. You get 10 if you win your heat, and then of course there is a 5-point bonus if you are the fastest qualifier. Pays 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 for the top 5 qualifiers. Qualifying going on right now, and it's no surprise to see our point leader, Hayden Perdue, sitting at the top of the chart.
Yeah.
Oh, but I apologize. It's practice. Qualified as an open.
I knew what you meant.
Yeah.
It was, this is starting to become pretty familiar territory for us at this point on who are the fast drivers. Doesn't matter what car you put them in. Seems like, much like on the pavement, if you're good, if you're fast in one car, as long as the surface stays the same, you're probably going to be fast in the other. Some drivers, even if you change the surface, they're still fast. But this one, as I said, can be slightly different, Bill. You might notice that the drivers are still trying to run that high line when you see the track slicking up like that. But these cars, unlike the sprint cars, actually have fenders, and that rear end is going to feel very, very long. So you might actually see drivers use the rear of the car just to kind of slightly nudge that outside wall and get away with it. But if you hit it too hard, it can actually whip the front so hard into the wall, as Davidson hits the inside wall there, that it's just whiplash. Your nose suddenly slams in, and you're taking a trip to the pits instantly.
Joe, I imagine to the dirt track specialists, every little incident, every little specification matters. We always talk about track and temperature. I'm not sure, do you think that the temperature on a dirt track is as important as it is on pavement? We can take a look at the temperature right now and see how it applies. There you go.
It does matter, yes, because remember, this is all about trying to find moisture and grip in the track. It's just like pavement racing that you're trying to find grip. The big difference is, in this case, the heat doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be, instant grip going away. Like in pavement, if suddenly you go from an 80-degree track to a 120-degree track, you're going to notice. Granted, that's an extreme case. Yeah. In this case, what's going to happen is it means the moisture is going to seep out of it quicker. So a cool track is better because it's going to stay grippier longer, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it's suddenly going to be instantly slick if you've got, say, a 100-degree track.
You spent some time in the Unlimited Modified. How did it feel for you? I know you're not a dirt specialist, but you got a taste for it. Was it tough?
Well, okay, so this was a unique car, I think, compared to what I've driven the rest of the dirt vehicles, and I have gotten into most of them over time. This one's tough initially. I found when you first get in, especially with the Lanier setup, when it turns into the corner, it feels like you don't even need to turn. There was a number of times the first few laps where the car just kept going around on you. You kind of have to learn to almost coax it in. You're not really steering so much as just letting the car do what it does and then guiding it from there. Once you figure out how to do that, honestly, it's a breeze. It's really easy. Now, being fast is another story, and also being able to flirt with that outside wall when you get the cushion starting to build up is another story. As we see Aiden Perdue taking to the outside wall. So it's tough for a newcomer, but once you get in the car, it's like putting on an old glove. It just fits.
You heard Joe talk about the format. We talked about there being 5 heats. There will be 5 heats if we reach the car count of 41 or more. If we only have 40 cars on, I think we're going to be under that number right now. We'll only have 4 heats. Little shorter night. Puts a little more pressure on these drivers to advance.
We got 35 signed up right now. Not everybody might necessarily take to the race today. The other thing you might notice, Bill, about these cars is that a lot of drivers are trying to really come in low just because of the way they drive. That can be a little bit dangerous. I think we've already seen at least a couple clip the pit exit right there if you flirt with it too close. And I feel like that's going to probably happen sometimes during the race where drivers just cut it that tight that it's going to end their day prematurely.
If you have not watched one of these events before on GSRC, it is jam-packed full of action. 8 laps, and then we started again. 8 laps, we started again. 8 laps, we started again. It is go to those semis and then to the feature event. The only event that will have yellow flags is our feature. 40 laps today. Last round we only went 30 because there was a fuel issue. They didn't think that those wing sprints might be able to get all the way to do 40 laps, so they cut it down by 10. Won't have an issue today. We're going to go the full 40.
Absolutely, and I think you're going to see some tired drivers after today, just because it's going to be kind of frantic, especially with all the beating and banging that you could do now that you've got fenders on the car. This is going to be a lot more elbows out than what we saw previously, Bill.
Many familiar names back here. We talked about it. One driver to watch, he's not out on track right now, is Kobe Sidham. He races in the number 3. He's got that car in pit lane. He's looking to pick up a few points and see if he can move up into the top 5. Looking at the 43 there of Avery Goodman.
Looks like qualifying just getting ready to start here. You can see how much the track has slicked up here in practice. It's these cars eat it up very quickly, and they're a lot wider, a lot longer wheelbase than what we have with a sprint car, Bill. So they tear up more track, cover more ground quickly.
And I believe practice is done, so now we will get qualifying. Don't be fooled. Everyone does get a chance to qualify, and it's the magic of sim racing. Everyone will have the track to themselves.
All right, let's see who's got what under them. Purdue's been fast pretty much everywhere he goes, and he's been fast in practice. But again, pressure is on here, and you can't use that little trick that I was talking about, Bill, of using the wall to help rotate the car, or straighten out the car, if you will, because that will nullify your qualifying lap if you touch the wall. So they got to be clean.
There is Purdue in the 37. He already has one fast qualifying award so far. See if he can pick up another one right now.
Lap times are trickling in very, very fast.
Kenny Miller's top 14.78. Not sure if that's enough to stay in there. Purdue well down the order in about 8th.
He's already got his 2 laps in, so I think he's just warming up at this point. And there goes Purdue.
Surprise, surprise, surprise as he moves up to the top. No, also no surprise to see Chance Crump sitting in 3rd.
Chance also, well, excuse me, 3 laps, not 2, had that wrong. So they got more than those 2 opportunities. And also, thank you to the Peanut Gallery for adding in my gaps in my dirt knowledge. I've been informed, Bill, that the nighttime is actually excellent for these drivers because we've had 3 of the 4 races now under nighttime, because it actually puts a little bit of that moisture back in the track. Now, if I suspect iRacing has, at least to some extent, done that. But again, the cars are sucking that moisture out a little bit each time they go around. So it's probably still losing moisture over the course of the race regardless.
Little Georgian evening dew coming down onto the track.
Seeing if anybody else is able to get one last lap in. I see Corey Day's finishing his last one, and he's not going to be able to improve.
What is interesting is Purdue and Crum sit 1st and 5th. Now, I'm not sure if they serpentine the order or if 1st and 5th go to the same heap. We'll find out soon enough, but that would be interesting if both Purdue and Crum end up in the very Purdue's going to be our top qualifier. We'll see how that plays out.
We still got time left, but I don't see anybody out on track who is who can put that 3rd lap in. We have one person in the pits who's yet to take their 3rd lap. That's Chad Wheeler, so not sure that he will be able to get one.
5 drivers either chose not to or were unable to get in a qualifying lap. Evan Spalding, Jackson Bishop, Matt Kaiser, Joey Amati, and Cannon Posey.
Hopefully they will get on out, get one in. We watch Chase Randall put that little bit more practice in. You can see how sideways they get. This is what I was talking about, Bill, where the drivers really are coaxing the machine. If you steer too much, it is going to turn on you so quickly. Watch Bradley here. And it's amazing as well how much lean these cars have. You might be looking at and thinking, oh, well, that's just a really soft suspension. No, if you look at them stationary, Bill, they're still leaning. That's just how they set these cars up.
And when they're sideways like that, they take up more of the track. It's hard to go 3 wide when your cars are perpendicular to the track.
Well, it'll be 3 wide.
Yeah.
It'll just be that. I guess they'll be moving 3 wide and
right.
Yeah.
Nose to tail.
Yeah. Yeah, this is going to be slightly new territory. Even though we're seeing similar fast guys, racing is a whole different matter. As one of my favorite quotes with oval racing goes, Bill, it's First you're fast by yourself, then you're fast in a group, and then you're fast for 500 miles. And it's not 500 miles, but it's, the same thing here with these drivers. Being around other people and being able to race well is going to be a completely different thing from finding speed out by yourself. And then also trying to keep that speed up for the entire race, searching for it as we go around.
All right, with that out of the way, it is time for our first heat. And of course, as always, that's going to be Joe's Racing Products, which has been designing and manufacturing quality and innovative race products right here in the USA. Find out more at joesracing.com. You see that we are going to go 8 laps, no caution flags. Top 2 will transfer. And let's call the grid for you right now. On the pole, it's going to be Aiden Perdue, and sure enough, the driver who finished 5th in qualifying, Chance Crum, going to be outside of him in row 1. Corey Sidham and Chad Wheeler. My goodness, some big names, Joe, in this heat. Go 3rd and 4th.
Andrew Evans, P5, with Matt Moore starting 6th. Grayson Springer will be 7th. Preston Perlmutter is up here as well. Surprised he's that far down, though. And then Cannon Posey rounds out our 9 drivers in this first split.
So right off the top there, we see 4 names in the top 5 of our points right here in heat number 1. Perdue, Crum, Wheeler, and Perlmutter.
That's going to put the pressure on because a lot of big names then are going to be cut out and have to go and try to work their way in the semifinal.
On the pole, it is Aiden Perdue. Time to go racing. And it is Perdue out in front.
Conditions are a little bit better compared to the end of practice. They've redone the track somewhat, but it's already been slicked up slightly, especially on the bottom line. You can see them mostly looking up high, and those who go low are probably going to find themselves sliding out high just because of the immense speed these things take into the corner. Very clean start though, Bill.
Very nicely done. Perdue, Crum, and Wheeler racing 1, 2, 3.
It's looking pretty difficult to try and get overtakes. You can see it's mostly a one-line race for the moment. Anybody trying to go low just can't quite find it.
Wheeler trying to get that 80 up there. Now the 83 has a little bit of a peak. That's Crum down low. I think he's just trying to protect his position as much as he's trying to get that spot.
Honestly, I think he's just trying to get the spot. He's trying to find something off the corner, but you could see when he tries to gun it off the low side like that, it doesn't seem to be giving him enough. Blinked out a lot. That's not good news for Wheeler behind him.
They work in lap number 6. Wheeler try as he might in the 88. Cannot get going as he's sitting back there in 3rd. Kobe Sidham in 4th, racing comfortably. Boy, Joe, this is a totally different racing than we've seen before in the other cars. So much smoother. Look how high.
Cannon Posey is turned around. Just gets out of the way. And Perlmutter also, low side of the track, looking stuck right now. Posey's going to tow.
They were off the racing line. They worked all the way around looking to pick up the win. Final lap coming to the checker flag. It is Perdue, Crum, and Wheeler will not advance. In 4th, it is Kobe Sidham. Then behind that, it's Matt Moore, Andrew Evans, Grayson Springer, Dennis Perlmutter. Boy, Perlmutter had a hard time going there. And Cannon Posey. It is time for heat number 2. No rest for the weary here. And of course, heat number 2 is sponsored by Factor 1 Micro Sprint Chassis. They have been providing an unfair advantage over 30 years. More information, factor1racing.com. And let's see who's on the grid for us today. It's going to be Corey Day is going to be our pole sitter. Dustin Davison outside of him. Tyler Banks and Bryce Lucius making up row 2. Joe?
Colton Collins will start 5th, and then outside of him will be Ryan Gaunt. Scott Bradley starts P7. Ryan Mitchell 8th. Evan Spalding is going to round out our 9-car field for this heat.
Keep your eye on the number 41, sitting in the pole spot.
And again, they do not refresh the track from heat to heat for this, Bill. So as the heats go on, it is going to continue to get slicker and slicker out there.
Top 2 advance.
The other thing I find interesting is in practice, we saw drivers really trying to work the very, very high entry because there is a cushion up there and you can see it already start to form. But nobody was trying that in that first heat. I'm kind of curious when we're going to get someone who maybe will try and do that and then really do an extreme diamonding off of the exit of 2 and 4 and get a shot onto the straights. But I don't know if it'll happen this race.
Keep an eye on Tyler Rust. He's on the inside of row 2. He's going to try to sneak that second position. He gets a great jump. And indeed, he is on the inside of Davison, and he moves up into second. They're bumping and banging behind. They get together. The top 4 pull away.
That was Lucius, Spalding, Bradley, and Gaunt involved in that, but they get it going. Like you said, that caused a big gap. There's a battle for the transfer spot.
Davison had it for a second. Then it went back to Russ, and now Davison with the underneath out of 2. Here comes Rust. Davison gets loose, puts it in the wall. That's going to let Rust take it easily now. He opens up quite a distance.
Very easy to do that, and I think Davidson also has a connection problem because he's disappeared on mine. There, he's back.
He's back. Let's go ahead and jump back to the battle for 4th. This is where the action is. The front 3 look pretty comfortable. Dive underneath, that is Collins. Chasing in the 82. No, sorry, that's Collins in the 82. Bryce in the 32.
Collins is looking pretty strong on entry. Oh, but a little bit of the wall for the 32 might do it. If he can get the slide job, he's going to try. But you can see how much his momentum is hurt as he climbs up high out of 2, and the 32 might get it back.
Missing any action up front. They race 1, 2, 3 as they are. This is where the excitement is. Back here for 4th.
And I'm pretty certain Lucius has got it now. Collins is still going to try that low line. Line's continuing to creep for higher and higher.
Day up front working lap number 6. He'll have 2 to go. Comfortably in second is Tyler Rust. He started from the inside of row 2. He had to fight for it, but Dustin Davison. They work lap number 7, and they come around now. And there you have our winner. Corey Day gets the win. Tyler Rust gets second. Dustin Davison and Ryan Gaunt go 3rd and 4th. Joe?
Colton Collins manages to get 5th, Bryce Lucius 6th, Spalding 7th, Bradley 8th, and Mitchell's going to round it out in 9th, unfortunately.
Heat number 3, WR1 Sims, built by Racers for Racers. WR1 Sims are the choice of industry professionals like Kyle Larson and Christopher Bell. WheelerMetals.com. Let's go ahead and give you our grid now for heat number 3. On the front row, it's going to be Brendan Rogers. Outside of him is going Emerson Axum, Christopher Townsend, and Jonathan Schaefer go in row 2, Joe.
Corbin Hazlett will be P5. On the outside of him will be Colin Mitchell. Then Avery Goodman starts 7th. Jackson Bishop 8th. And actually, Jackson did not line up, and Joey Amante did not either. So we've actually got a 7-car field for this one.
Brendan Rogers, I believe, had the win last time out in the feature. He knows he's fast. We know he's fast. Again, watch the spot in 3rd. Christopher Townsend as he tries to sneak in underneath the car on the outside of Emerson Axel. They work into corner number 3. It's heat number 3. Top 2 advance. The truck is in. Time to go racing. Rogers jumps out in front.
For third. Got a little bit of an accident in the back, too. Looks like Colin Mitchell and Avery Goodman got into one another. Got it going once again, but they have lost the group big time.
Axum took a peek under Rogers just to feel it out. Could not get it done. Bumped and banging for third. Schaefer gets into the car.
Schaefer into Hazlett, and that slows both of them. Oh, here comes Townsend. They're still fighting behind him. Townsend is just shrieking away, saying, thank you.
Racing is intense for third, also tough for 5th position, but up front, the top 2 race away, Rogers and Axum.
Oh, Townsend into the wall this time. Floated too close with it, caught it, and that turned him around. Schaefer is the one that took advantage.
Remember, every position they pick up, diving down low and losing the spot. Goodman keeping Townsend. Yeah, Goodman.
And a lot of drivers now trying that maneuver. It's just, unfortunately, every time you do that, you're only going to have it for a couple seconds. But you can see how slow they are off the corner. Oh, as he clips together with Hazlett.
They work lap number 6 coming around, getting lap number 7 underway.
Oh.
Yeah.
Clinton,
they're done.
Yep. And they've had a bad day today here in the heat.
Being shown the white flag. Brendan Rogers, watch out for him when we go to the feature. He's going to be good. He has opened up quite a distance on the man that's chasing of Emerson Axum. Rogers will come around corner number 4 to get the win. Axum getting a little bit of pressure there from Jonathan Schaefer. Schaefer will have to settle for third. And Christopher Townsend gets 4th.
From there, it is Colin Mitchell who finishes 5th. And in 6th was Avery Goodman, and Corbin Hazlett unfortunately DNF'd to take the 7th. As we said, Bishop Monte did not take part in the race.
And now it is time for heat number 4. That's sponsored by Chalksticks. They offer the best torsion bars money can buy. For more, for micro sprints, midgets, and sprint bar market. Chalksticks.com. And now as we go to the grid here for heat number 4, let's tell you who it is. On the pole, it's going to be Kenny Miller, James Andrzejczyk behind him. Move next to him, Chase Randall and Tyler Ransbottom. Fill up row 2, Joe.
Carter Batterby, farther down than we're used to seeing both Batterbys. In 5th, Carson Batterby next to him in 6th. Reed Whitney starts 7th, only an 7-car field because Matt Kaiser is not going to line up for this one.
Car number 23, Kenny Miller on the pole. Yeah, Batterby well down the order. Carson in the 38 car, sitting inside of row 3. The truck is in, time to go racing. Andrzejczyk sitting in 2nd.
That's a nice clean start compared to the last 2 rounds. Oh, I spoke too soon.
Miller. That's Andrzejczyk trying to get underneath. Miller on the outside there. Cialis bathtubs for a long time. Now Andrzejczyk goes really wide and opens the door for everybody.
Oh, Andrick unfortunately got tipped at the right rear. That sent him straight into the wall. He's probably not going to have any shot at getting into this one.
Tyler Ransbottom says, thank you. I will shoot up into 2nd position. Carter Batterby, remember he was way back. Well, he's in 3rd now, trying to run down Tyler.
And remember, you can get away with little bits of contact here and here, so it's not necessarily a bad thing, but it's a little different racing in the sim than it is in real life and trying to get away with that stuff.
Kenny Miller, halfway home.
He and Ransbottom looking very strong in this heat. They're stretching away from third. Carter's got himself up there. Ooh, look at this battle behind them, though.
This is Randall in a battle here with Kenny Miller.
Carson Batterby, actually, in the 38, trying to work the high side. And I think that's the place to be. Look at how much the 12's struggling. Even though it's the shorter distance, it's just not doing anything for him. Try the slide job, and once again, nothing seems to be working. But now that puts the 38 on the low side, so he's in that position. Oh, but he made it work. Wow.
White flag coming around for our leader. And getting the win for heat number 4 is going to be Kenny Miller. Tyler Ransbottom is going to be right behind in second. Carter Batterby gets third. Carson Batterby gets... Nope, I have that wrong. Joe, you want to help me there?
Yep, Carson Batterby is fourth. Oh, and it changed on me, too. Here.
iRacing,
and I'm not going to be able to report it, unfortunately. So let's go to the sponsor for this one.
It is time now as we get to our first semi, I believe. Let's double check on that, Joe. We think we're in the semi. Yes, it is. All right. This is Agire Performance Parts. They're your choice for one-stop shopping, everything high performance in the Midwest. And now, as soon as my timing and scoring catches up, we'll give you the grid on this one.
Well, I'll start with the first ones. Chad Wheeler's going to be on the pole with Jonathan Schaefer in second. Kobe Stidham will start P3 with Christopher Townsend fourth. Matt Moore in P5, and then Colin Mitchell in sixth. Bill?
And Evan and Avery Goodman behind them. Grayson Springer and Corbin Hazlett back in 10th position. 11th, 12th, and 13th. Preston Perlmutter. Boy, I got to get that name out better. Jackson Bishop and Kenny Posey.
And again, for our viewers who have not been watching CSI, this is our driver's last attempt to make it into the A main final.
10 laps. They go 2 extras. Time to go racing. Wheeler gets the jump. Schaefer in second.
Oh, it is messy in the back. Very, very messy. Number of cars involved. Looks like Posey, Springer, and Evans.
Townsend in third, beginning to gap himself a little bit from Kobe Stidham.
Driver on the bubble right now, and fourth is currently Stidham. Good news for him, Matt Moore has fallen way behind him, but he's still trying to pressure the number 6 to get into third to get one more piece of cushion in there.
Wheeler and Schaefer comfortable where they are right now. The race is for third, Townsend and Stidham.
And honestly, if I was Stidham, I would look in my F3 box, see that, there's really no pressure from behind. I wouldn't make any risky moves here with the 6. Try and make safe maneuvers. He's going to try a slide job, which I don't think is going to work here, but oh, he's decent off of there. Oh, and he gets into the 6, Bill.
He's going to lose a lot of momentum.
And see, this is what I was talking about. Those risky moves, they came together. Now suddenly they've got Matt Moore coming up on them. He can challenge and maybe take the position away.
All this going on behind Wheeler and Schaefer as we look at Moore.
Oh, way too high. Way too high for Stidham.
They collect him going by. Moore now moves up into third.
This is not over. Again, this is for a transfer spot. Oh! The 9 on his lid turns into a 6 momentarily, but that sends him to 7th.
We look at the battle for 3. Stidham being chased by Townsend.
Flag is out for a leader.
working around the backstretch. It's an easy pass through for Chad Wheeler. Jonathan Schaefer as well. Joe, what's going on for third?
In third, Stidham's going to get through, and then Townsend, the last one to transfer. Looks like Evans finishes 5th, Springer 6th, Perlmutter 7th from 11th, but that's still not enough. Matt Moore 8th, Goodman 9th, Mitchell 10th, Posey 11th, Hazlett 12th, and then Bishop, the last of the 13.
Time for our second semi. Sharp Advantage specializes in customized racing safety products of the highest quality. SharpAdvantageSafetyProducts.com. Joe, who's on the pole?
Going to be Dustin Davidson for that, with Carter Batterby starting behind him. Then in the second row, Ryan Gart will be flanked by the other Batterby, Carson, in P4. Colton Collins starts 5th, Chase Randall in 6th. Bill?
Bryce Lucius, one of the hard chargers, in 7th, just ahead of Reed Whitney. Evan Spalding behind him in 10th. It's James Adrichuk. 11th position to Scott Bradley. Matt Kaiser in 12th in the Baker's Dozen spot. Ryan Mitchell just ahead of Joey Amati. And our final driver, Joey Amantea.
So with more cars out on the track, it looks like it's a lot harder at the start to try and stay out of trouble. Curious after that first one if this one will be any better. Just listening to the race marshal, the steward, letting him know what he expects of them this race.
Wants everybody up close, doesn't want anybody sandbagging on the start, getting a head start, getting a run before they go green.
And this is it. If you don't make it on this one, you are not making it into the big show. Only 4 of them out of 14 is getting through. That's very few, Bill.
Great jump on the outside, but he has to whoa up. That's going to allow Davison now up in front.
And Bill, they didn't even get to the start-finish line. Cars got turned around, and they're still together. They're going to get hit by the...
And there's a swarm of them coming down. Oh, that's a mess.
And they've actually thrown the caution on this.
So while, this is a manual thrown caution as things did not go well there. Trying to take another replay.
It looks like it was the number 2 of Reed Whitney and Evan Spalding of the 35 who were stuck there, but more cars than that were involved. I'm going to take a quick replay. Looks like the 2 and the 20 of James Andrechuk got together. You can see them there, and that sent them into the 35. And then they just got their wheels locked, essentially, is what it looked like.
And then our leader found him.
Let's see. Yeah, and this is why even in the heat races, they were urging drivers, if you have something like that happen, Bill, they're telling them, make sure you exit out of the car. This is sim racing, so they have basically an escape button that makes the car disappear. It automatically tows. They don't want situations like that, Bill, so they're telling drivers, please, 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 if you're that far back, just leave, because there's no sense in trying to get back into this race and cause problems. But we're going green.
And there we go. We're going green. Sorry, I'm up to speed now. Carson Batterby, your leader. Brian Gaunt in second.
That was a single file restart, so that was a lot safer for these drivers. Lucius is trying something to get himself into that top 4. He's the one trying to take the bubble away from the 12, but it's just not working on that low side. You can see how high the cushion is now. Oh, but the 12 gets the wall. Doesn't lose him out yet, but he lost a lot of time. Bit of a battle for second as well.
That's Carter Batterby trying to get up behind his brother Carson. In the Batterby sandwich is Ryan Gaunt.
Ooh, and the track is really slicked up all over. In fact, we're going to get a new leader potentially here.
Gaunt took a stab. He had it for a little while, and now it goes right back to Carson Batterby as they work the last lap. Gaunt down low. Gaunt's around! That's going to cost him a transfer position as everybody comes around now. Your winner, Carson Batterby, ahead of Carter Batterby. Chase Randall and Bryce Lucius go third and fourth, Joe.
Gaunt just outside of it in fifth. He was the one that got tipped around. James Andrechuk sixth, Scott Bradley seventh, Colton Collins eighth, Dustin Davidson ninth, and then Ryan Mitchell 10th, Reed Whitney 11th, Evan Spalding 12th, Matt Kaiser 13th, and Joey Amante in 14th. Bill, what's our sponsor for this one?
You know, it's not on my script, but we can bring it up. There it is. It's Hergot Real Estate. If you want yourself a new piece of property to live, or you want yourself someplace where you can work on your car, you want to check out Hergot Realty. Joe, who we got on the pole?
Pole for the feature race is going to be Aiden Perdue. No surprise there. Corey Day will be starting second with Brennan Rogers in third. Then it's Kenny Miller, P4, Chance Crum in fifth, Tyler Rust in sixth, and Emerson Axum in seventh. Tyler Ransbottom is going to be the outside of row 4. Bill?
Chad Wheeler. Then we get Carson Batterby, Jonathan Schaefer, Carter Batterby, Cody Sidham. In 14th, it's going to be Chase Randall, Christopher Townsend, and in the final spot, Bryce Lucius. Lucius, a hard charger, plenty of opportunity for that as he starts in 16th. Our point leader up in front, Aiden Perdue.
Watch out for Corey Day, though. I think he is going to be the fly in the ointment for the number 37.
Rogers will also be fast.
And green flag is out, Bill.
Gather up the chicken steak covering on the cows. We're racing as they work through 1 and 2. Looking down low, that is Day. And he's going to have the lead for now, but the momentum's going to go to Perdue on top.
Oh, but the 41, he's in the wall. Day clips it multiple times. It sends him all the way down to fourth. Remember, we do have cautions here, so we can't get back in this.
That moves Brennan Rogers now up into second as he stops Perdue. Rogers working the top side. Yeah.
Lots of cars. Looks like the Christopher Townsend, Bryce Lucius, Tyler Rust, many others got involved, but only those three really came to a halt. I think Rust was the first one involved.
We'll look at Tyler Rust.
He got sideways and he was a little slow in the corner. Ransbottom in the 36 came up to him quicker than he expected. That sent him down into the 10 of Batterby, Carter in particular. And then from there, it was basically a chain reaction, Bill.
We get a perspective from Ransbottom's side point of view. So, they work lap number 5 under caution. Aiden Perdue, the man who started on the inside of row 2. Brendan Rogers is in second, and he is fast. Chance Crum is always fast. He's your third place driver. Kenny Miller in fourth.
So now we're starting to see the line spread out because, like I said, Bill, the track is slicked up. Now, they did redo it a little bit here before the feature race, but we saw in the last main that it was it happened very quickly, and I think we're going to see it again as we restart.
Perdue's first into the corner, taking the high line is Rogers. Behind Perdue on the low is Crum. Rogers dives it down deep into 3, tries to get alongside of Perdue, can't get it done. Crum watches on from 3rd.
Back in 5th, you got Corey Day trying to work the high side, the very high side, to get back up to the front. He clips the wall again. He can get away with that little brush, and it's actually kind of working for him.
It is a tale of two cities up front. Perdue staying low. Rogers trying to get the top side to work at least through 1 and 2. Through 3 and 4, Rogers goes low as well. Let's see what happens here. Rogers is going to stay down low. The top side was not working for him.
It was working for a couple cars briefly, but it seems like it's very hard to try and run that high line, because I'm watching Corey Day. He is still struggling to kind of make the progress that he was initially on this high line.
That time Rogers tried it through 1 and 2, did not make up any ground on Perdue, and actually lost some ground to Crum.
Cars really searching. You can see that there's almost 2 lines now forming out. Nobody's really running the middle. So either you're going extreme low or extreme high.
Day is really trying to make that top line work in the 41 as he races back in 5th position.
Well, for a second I thought he was going to have it once again. 88 trying to slide job to stop his momentum, and it actually works very well. He gives the 88 a shove, and I tell you what, Chad Wheeler may have found the solution to things. Just use other people.
It is Perdue, Rogers, and Crum. Up front, nobody can do anybody, yeah.
Wheeler's still fighting up on the high line. He's left Corey Day behind. The bottom is a little bit of a fight between Miller and Schaefer as well.
Schaefer really trying to get in there on the 23. Day now has brought the car down low. The 41 car working the low side.
And I wonder, we've got a fair bit of a green flag run. We might actually have a car lapped, which could get interesting.
Especially with the yellow flag that we had, where they had to start in single file, really stretched out the field. Perdue will be coming up on a driver here pretty soon.
Yeah, that first one coming up is Townsend in the 6. He's trying the high line, a little bit of a medium entry, middle entry, and then drifts it up high. If he stays there, Perdue should be able to overtake him low.
We saw lap traffic play a factor in previous races. Townsend doing a good job saying, this is my line up here. It's not even the fastest line. I'll race up high. You like the bottom line, I'll give it to you. What do you got?
And Brennan Rogers is really experimenting, but maybe a little too hard. He drifted all the way from the very bottom to the very top, hit the wall. Now, he's able to keep the 83 behind him, but he's got to be careful when he tries those wild dives.
That 83 is Chance Crum. Driver in 4th, Chad Wheeler has gone back to the high line. Like Joe said, it is really the extreme high line or the extreme low line. Nobody's racing in the middle.
And anybody who does is actually, honestly, just drifting from the bottom to the top, trying to slide job. Got a mess of cars in the middle of the pack. Really hard to tell who is where in this, because they're swapping around a lot depending on which route they take, which lap. This has been miserable for Corey Day after a stunning first part of this event.
Let's go up to 3rd real quick, Joe. Crum is under attack from Wheeler. He's been there a couple times. They're side by side. Wheeler on the low side.
And I think Wheeler's really the one who's impressed me for this race. Started it in 9th. He's fighting for a podium now at this point. And he might be able to get it. I don't think he's going to be able to gun it off the corner. You got to be careful out of 4 there, Bill, when you come and use the wall like that to tip you straight, because there's an opening exit that the cars will, or in real life, use to leave the circuit. And that can actually send you just T-boning into the wall if you tip it wrong.
Boy, all the fighting that's been going on between Crum and Wheeler. Batterby now in the mix.
That would be Carter and the number 10. And in fact, he's looking very good. Wheeler's really using the momentum off the high side. Almost 3 wide there for a second between them.
Batterby is kind of using that middle line now through the corner.
Yeah, that's basically, you kind of got to be the brave one in those situations. Whenever you see everybody doing the same thing, test out the water on the one thing that nobody else is doing. See if it works for you. And I'd say you're right. I'd say it's working for the 10.
That car they're coming up on is Christopher Townsend. He's a lap down.
Corey Day with more problems. He smacks the wall again. Oh, we got a caution.
Yellow.
Oh, and a car is up and over. That is the 23, I think. Yeah, Kenny Miller. So this started with Miller actually by himself. Drifted it too high. Then he starts climbing the wall, and from there he's a passenger. And unfortunately, others didn't see him drifting into their racing line. Let's see who it was that hit him. What if we could get an onboard from Carson Batterby?
We were able to bring that up for you. Let's take a look at what Carson was looking at.
Yeah, just didn't expect the car to... And this might look silly, but you have to remember, these are fast-moving cars on a low-grip surface, so they're momentum cars. When you're going one direction, Bill, you don't just change it suddenly. So when you see that car suddenly start to drift down the track on its lid, it's not like he can take instant evasive action.
Well, the driver who did not need to see this yellow flag is Aiden Perdue. He was on his way for a feature win, would have been his second of the season. Now he's going to have to work for it. Brendan
and not just a feature, not just a feature win, but a dominant feature win. He was not challenged by anyone up front for those laps, Bill.
All right, we're going to be working lap number 35 when we go green. Perdue gets a good jump. Rogers right behind him. They don't want to make contact or could got both of them positions. That's Crum in third.
37 still liking that low line here at the restart as well.
Carter Batterby in fourth, able to stay right with these guys, but the guys trailer are going to have to find a line that Perdue is not racing if they hope to pass him.
Rogers just does not look like he has the speed compared to Perdue today. You can see even with a couple laps, Perdue is already pulling a half-second gap.
Wheeler was racing up for a third position. He's now back in fifth.
The 30 trying that slide job move where you come in really shallow. Oh, wow, he got off close to the pit entry wall. And then let it drift out high. That time not as high, so he's experimenting. That's what you need to do. If you see the leader stretching away, what you're doing isn't working. So do something else.
Batterby with a good drive that time off of 4 from the middle lane. And they are pretty much 3 wide right now with Wheeler up on top with the momentum. Meanwhile, our leader is going to get the white flag as he comes across. Rogers doing everything he can. Actually, Rogers is there now. Let's go to the lead. Rogers took a stab at him, puts it out in the wall. You'll be lucky if he can hang on to second. Boy, Brendan gave it everything he could, but wasn't enough. Perdue comes out of 4. He will pick up his second feature win. Brendan Rogers will get second. Your top 5 is rounded out by Carter Batterby, Chad Wheeler, and Chance Crum, who was racing in third the whole race, will have to settle for 5th.
That was a fantastic finale for these guys. Sure, we would have liked to see a little bit more of a fight for the lead, but everybody else through the pack, it was, whew, man, it was elbows out today, like I predicted.
We'll run down the rest of your order. After Perdue, Rogers, Batterby, Wheeler, and Crum, the back half of your top 10, Jonathan Schaefer, Cody Sidham, Emerson Axum, Corey Day, and rounding out the top 10, Bryce Lucius. Joe?
Then in 11th, it wound up being Carson Batterby with Chase Randall in 12th and Tyler Rust in 13th. Tyler Ransbottom finishes 14th, last car in the lead lap. Because of that caution, we had plenty of cars back on the lead lap. 15th, Townsend and Miller, unfortunately, DNF today.
The racing is over here in Georgia, but our broadcast is far from done. We'll take a short break. We'll come back to run down the talk to some of the drivers before we put a lock on the gate. Back in a few. You're watching the Global Sim Racing Channel's coverage of the CSI Shocks Series Championship, round number 4 here from Lanier. We ran down the finishing order for you before we went to break, and your winner, of course, in the feature race was Aiden Perdue. And I think I have the honor of being able to talk to him right now as he's making his way up into the booth. Aiden, they gave you a yellow flag there at the end to make it a little harder for you.
Yeah, that was definitely one of the more interesting things. That was, the words that went through my head were, stay calm. You have the whole track to yourself here, and Brennan behind me was going to do everything he could just to try and get around me. And that definitely made some stuff interesting. But I just held my line and ran the bottom, and fortunately we were able to pick up the win.
Boy, qualifying really important. I don't know if you noticed it or not, but in your heat, it was jam-packed with talent. You had 4 of the top 5 drivers in the points. You, Chad Wheeler, Chance Crum, and I believe you had Preston Perlmutter in there as well, all in your heat. Man, boy, if you make a mistake in qualifying, you've got a hard road ahead of you.
Yeah, and that was one of the things last week Brennan mentioned was, it's like it's snapping a board. There's so much pressure that goes into that one lap or those 3 laps that you have to hit your marks and hit your marks right, and you can't make a mistake, because when you make a mistake, then you've got to work your way back up to the front, which is not going to be easy.
Was the bottom line the place to be?
Well, the track, I went into this testing last week, well, more this week, and, I experimented so much with it. It's like I get the top to work sometimes, and, that's what I tried in practice was all the different lines, but, yeah, it felt like the bottom was the place to be. It really hooked up well, and, I drove her nice in there. Well, I watched Brennan back there. He was trying different lines, and it looked like he was able to get. He was running the slider line for a while, and I noticed he could keep up with me, but he couldn't make the move for the pass. So I don't know. I felt like the bottom was fast, but the slider line was also fast.
I'll get you out of here on this one. The racing looks totally different, obviously, between the midgets and the modifieds, which are much bigger. But the midgets feel like you're watching a swarm of bees, and the modifieds seem to just flow better, like a flock of geese. You get that impression when you're racing it; they're just kind of much smoother to race.
Yeah, that's one of the things I always think about is, midgets are more like you can move, you're more moving around, more slide jobs, more moving around the track, whereas these it's more calm like you said, and more not as much moving around and passing as you would see in midgets, as I would say. But either way, they're still a lot of fun.
Yeah, puts on a good show. Hey, congratulations on your second feature win and continuing the lead in the points. We'll see you down the road.
Thanks. Couldn't have done it without you guys and the announcers. You guys do an excellent job.
Thanks. We're working our best. We're getting better all the time. We'll talk to Joe. Who you got?
I've got second place Brennan Rogers, who certainly had a fascinating race. Before we get to that, Brennan, we talked a little bit to Aiden about the difference between these two cars. What's your take? Do you have a preference between these tin tops and the open cockpit sprint cars that we had before?
Yeah, you guys got a call.
Yep, we got you.
Yeah. I mean, at least in my sake, I really have a lot more experience in the sprint car stuff, mostly non-wing, so and also midgets. So I actually, I love these modifieds. I never get to run them. Just don't put much time in on them, aside from races like this, which I honestly had a lot of fun running. But I don't know. I'm starting to like these modifieds a little bit more, especially running with the fast guys. I didn't think. Honestly, didn't think I'd keep up today, but surprised myself and try to keep it clean.
Obviously, towards the end when that caution came, you had a chance to try and chase down Aiden. But before that, it looked like you were looking over your shoulder more. Talk to us about the battle with Crumb.
I knew he was back there. I really didn't focus on him at all. My whole focus, line decision, everything was based on the leader. I was trying to the only line that I found that I was faster than Aiden in was the a couple of hybrid lines like top 1, 2, bottom 3, and 4, some weird stuff. But the slider line, if I could not hit the wall like a rookie, I probably would have been a little faster. But that slider line was that one was good. But when the leader's running the bottom and you're in second running the slider line, what are you going to do? Drive through him? So I could get to his bumper, but couldn't do anything with it once I was there. I'd have to carry a bunch of momentum through the slider, and I wasn't gonna wreck him. I know Aiden races well. He's one of my favorite guys to race with, so I wasn't gonna turn him. If I was gonna get around him, it was gonna be clean. So, glad he got the win. Glad I could round out in second and try to get back in the points. I know I missed the first race, but I think they're doing a couple. They're gonna drop the worst two races, so I might be in the points at the end. But had a lot of fun running the modified. Hope to get back to my roots with the midgets and non-wing stuff eventually here. Maybe I'll have a little more success.
Yeah, we're getting to those non-wings next week. But the big difference, I think, is we've seen these tracks with long arcing corners that are very much circle tracks. We're going to essentially the Martinsville of dirt with Williams Grove next week. How are you experienced with that? Do you consider that a strong one for you?
Yeah, any long track is definitely my strong suit. Those are definitely what I favor. Things like Volusia, I mean, they're just the long tracks are easier to gap, other competitors. So if you're able to put some consistent fast laps down, you can actually put some distance, and it's just easier if you tend to qualify towards the front and things like that. It's like Lanier modifieds, man. Like even if you qualify up front, you're not going to run away with it. I don't care who you are. You're always going to be a bumper away from somebody. But a place like Williams Grove, you can space yourself out. You can actually get some better racing because of it. I think I'll be all right, but we'll see. The racing at Grove, it's pretty flippant. I think some people strive there, some people aren't so good there. So it'll be an interesting race.
It sure will be. Definitely something we won't be used to yet here on our broadcast. That was Brennan Rogers, who takes second place. Bill, This was a new experience for us seeing the 10 tops out there now, but we're going to go back to the open wheelers.
Should put on a good show. Hey, let's thank everybody at CSI for sponsoring the Shock Series Championship. Also, how about the companies that provide the software and hardware that make this broadcast possible? Additional thanks to June Lalonde, who provides our wonderful music. See the screen to how to get a hold of more of her great work. Thanks to the team today. That would be Joe and Sean and Dougie. If you'd like more information about GSRC, including upcoming races, you can find it at the Global SimRacing channel or check us out on social media. GSR channel, Facebook at Global SimRacing channel, or Instagram at GSRC_Ram. Next race will be the Williams at Williams Grove. That's going to be the non-win sprint 360s. That's going to be Wednesday, April 24th. Starts at 9 p.m. Eastern. We'd also like, if you'd like upcoming broadcasts, you can see those listed on your screen right now. So check those out and mark them down on your calendar so you don't miss a thing here on the Global SimRacing channel. So with that said, we're off to have fun storming the castle. So until next time, race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track.